Mark Fowler helped me out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Talked with Bob a lot, and then I got to know the union guys and the big guy, the guys who were running the unions.
Sure.
And so we just developed a great working relationship. I mean, that's one thing I learned through all of this. Everybody wants the same thing. We all have the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
We just have different avenues that get us to that goal.
Sure.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a very simple thing to understand. And once you know what this guy is trying to do and you realize you're trying to do the same thing, but you have two different ways of doing it, you say, okay, well, how can we work together? So that's kind of where we do it, how we function as an association.
Got it. Got it.
We're interpreters.
Right. And it was kind of like when you were working for Drive It and you had all your competitors, right? And you're saying you reached out to these guys, and you know, my opinion in eifs was nothing was standardized.
Yeah.
You know, so this guy had his magic stuff over here, and this guy said, no, you don't do that, and you know, it didn't get standardized, and that's one of the reasons, in my opinion, I think it went sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do this on this guy's stuff and you do this on this guy's stuff. And so the association is kind of the same thing, where you want to standardize these ideas where everybody's on the same page. Is that correct?
Yeah, but still allow them the latitude of doing it their way.
Sure.
Again, we're goal oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Reach the goal. What is the goal?
Yeah.
I mean, you could ask anybody working for the association. Our goal is to grow the union marketplace,
Mm-hmm.
to get more work for our members.
Sure.
That's our number one goal. Anything that comes up as an idea, as an initiative, anything, we take it back to that core value or the core question.
Sure.
How are we going to get more work for? It's got to make sense to get more work for people
Yeah.
without strong arming or doing silly things. You know, no short-term gains.
Mm-hmm.
Applying pressure so you get a job, but then the guy hates you forever. That gets you nothing.
Exactly.
It gets you nowhere. And
Exactly.
I want to go back to the eifs days. I remember when I talked to architects, when you're giving presentations, you can't say, drive it this, drive it that, drive it do, drive it by, drive it. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
When you're giving a presentation, you're talking eifs. Right?
Sure.
And I always told them, I'm your drive it rep. I'm wearing a penguin. But if you have a question about any product, anything, call me. If I'll get a hold of the rep. We'll find a way to make this work for you, Mr. Architect. We're here to solve your problems.
Mm-hmm.
The sales will come. Sometimes it'll be drive it. Sometimes it won't. But at the end of the day, we want the project to be right. We want you guys using eifs.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's the mindset I kind of have carried with me. Just, again, goal-oriented, reach the goal. That's some kumbaya stuff, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. Well, you know, it seems like every turn that you took, you landed on your feet. And, you know, a lot of that comes down to being a hard worker. And you were recognized very early by, you know, guys taking you in under their wing. And, you know, there's nothing that will take that away from anybody. Hard workers are always recognized.
Always.
You know what I mean?
Without exception.
Yeah.
Even some with colorful personalities.
Absolutely.
That may be hard workers. They're still up there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are.
Absolutely.
And you had a lot of different opportunities thrown in front of you. And, you know, you were never looking for the easy way out. No. It doesn't sound like, in my opinion.
In my mind sometimes. When you're out there at 105, God, there's got to be an easier way.
Of course.
My answer to that was, it's through the top. Keep climbing.
Exactly.
It'll get easier at the top.
Exactly.
Until it isn't.
Right.
But that's okay, because there's another top. There's another where
you won't hit it.
I won't hit it.
You know, you know, there's always another, like you said, there's a hill behind that one.
Right behind it, yeah.
You may not see it right now, but there is.
But hard work, and, you know, I'm competitive by nature. And our family is. I mean, my siblings, we're all competitive.
Sure.
Just the way we are. It is what it is.
Got it.
Not detrimentally so, but, you know, kind of that silent competition.
So you got in with Wwcca in Phoenix, and then now you're the jefe.
I'm the jefe
of the whole.
Yeah.
Everybody's answering to you.
Well, I'm the responsible party. I'm the guy. I'm the guy at the bottom that when everything rolls downhill, I get it. So yeah, but yeah, CEO is the title. It just came with it.
Right.
So the way I got that, Ian always said, if Arizona gets slow and the income cannot maintain the office and maintain the structure, we're going to close the office. He told me that the first day I hired.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it hit that, 2008. So I started in 2008. I know,
Perfect.
right?
Yeah.
Again, by the grace of our divine creator, I have been fortunate. So I started at the beginning of a terrible economic fiasco,
Mm-hmm.
and was able to keep it viable through a series of grants and some other income stuff and some hours, all the way up until about 2013, 2014, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to close the office, and I worked out of my house for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then through a series some restructuring here in California, some openings were created. A position was vacated. 2 positions were vacated. One was a technical position, and the other was the executive vice president position. And the executive vice president at that time was hired to replace Ian in his retirement. So now the position is vacated. There's nobody to replace Ian. And so Ian says, I got a job for you in California. You can come over here and work. You can help me. I says, can I apply for the position to replace you? If I can do that, I will come to California. Otherwise, I'll find something to do in Arizona. I really don't want to move to California.
Mm-hmm.
I love the state,
Mm-hmm.
but really don't want to pick up my family and move again.
Mm-hmm.
And so he says, let me check with the board. The board said, yeah, you can do it. And so I started working. That's where I learned. That's where I was introduced to the general presidents of these unions, and started working in negotiations with Ian, and starting sitting on trust committees,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of following Ian.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually Ian just said, go ahead and try this on your own, try that on your own, try this on your own. And my competitive nature, I'm not going to let him down. I'm not going
Sure.
to let the association down. I'm not going to look like a fool in front of all the contractors. So I gave it everything I had. I poured everything I had into it. And then they said, okay. So they set a date for Ian to retire. He's right now an advisor for the association, because, when I say, where's the skeleton buried, or what was this language? What was the reason for this language? And he opens up his little book, which is his brain. He goes, well, we did it because of this. We did it because of that. So he's just a wealth of knowledge for me.
Sure.
It works out really well.
You got Wikipedia there.
I'm telling you, man, I'm probably one of the luckiest guys that I know of. I just count my blessings every day.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to be in this position. So I take over officially as a CEO and get to know these general presidents, and I still have the same model. I respect you, you respect me. How are we going to reach this goal together?
Mm-hmm.
And then, then I take that and I take it over to our members, our contractor members. And I says, what is your goal? How are we going to reach this goal together? I go, did you know that the union says the same thing? And I tell the union, do you know my contractors have the same opinion? Well, that's not how they behave. I go, well, let's get together. So we sit,
Got it.
we talk, we just open up conversation.
Sure.
We do a lot of committees. So then now we have this association going. We're creating great relationships between labor and management. I think they're better than they have been in the recent past. I don't know about long time ago, but it's functioning. It's functioning as a open dialogue. Not everything, both sides don't always agree, but like anything else, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to agree to
Right.
get along.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So we have that going. It's improving. We're developing initiatives. And then we have this other facet of the association, and that's the affiliate membership. These are the distributors. These are manufacturers. These are the ancillary, the supportive group of the construction industry, architects, everybody else. That's
Sure.
not a contractor, everybody else. And they are members, just like I was, and I'm sure, to have access to these contractors.
Exactly.
Be able to tell them what they do. A lot of times it's hard to get into their office, but if you go to a neutral ground, you get an opportunity to talk to them.
At least meet them.
At least meet them. At least know who they are. Listen to them talk.
Sure.
You can pick up a lot through osmosis and just being there. Just being exposed to that stuff.
Sure.
And so we have these meetings, and notice that the attendance is just starting to go down a little bit. first it was the attendance of the contractors. And I think what was happening is these contractors would be there and other contractors would be there and they'd start pilfering. Hey, you want to come work for me? Well, why don't you come work for me? Which happens, right?
Sure.
So I started making announcements.
Yeah.
Don't be stealing anybody.
Yeah.
This is Switzerland. This is common ground. Nobody takes anybody from anybody during these meetings. After the meeting, I have no control. Before the meeting, I have no control.
Yeah.
While you're in this meeting, we're not going to do that.
Sure.
Again, give them the hard truth. I say it respectfully, but it's a truth. And really, there's no room for it in our association.
Got it.
And it's to a minor degree. I'll just say that. And so when you have the members, the contractor members starting to decline in membership, then you have the affiliates. Well, why am I going there? And then that coupled with this new group of professionals, the millennial and beyond, they have a very different values. And so I learned through a series of conversations, through observations, through attempts, that we couldn't keep going the same way we were going. We couldn't keep the model of the association going the way it was. We have to do something different. We have to be relative, relate to what's going on in today's environment, today's construction environment.
Right.
And so we're on this process of changing a lot of stuff, holding meetings differently. Of course, we haven't had any this year because of COVID.
Right.
But before that, we started a social media campaign. And one thing I know about these labor groups is they're very good at what they do. Training, recruiting, getting their guys ready to go, teaching them how to be ladies and gentlemen on projects. Don't be an embarrassment. Get back to your environment, to your local people, to the economy. But they really weren't good at promoting themselves. There's a stigma attached with union. It's wrong, but it is, right?
Sure.
And so they weren't real good at really showing general John Q. public, builders, developers, anybody, what unions do initially. And so I says, well, why don't we do that? We're an association. We're like neutral ground. Let's start interviewing people. Let's start publishing stuff that shows all the good stuff that construction is. What is it? Let's define it. Let's talk about what it is. Let's go and highlight the pioneers of our industry. Most of them have sat in this chair. Again, I'm humbled to sit here.
A lot of
You've had
them.
some greats in this
Yeah.
chair.
Yeah. I have more to come.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
The pioneers, the thinkers, the movers, they created this environment we're in. And I think I take it as our responsibility to take that and keep it going and turn it into something. And so now we're very heavy on showing the public, showing the young people, and not necessarily young people, but even older people who may not have thought of construction as a career, showing them that it is a career. There's a life to it. And
It's a
you look at
culture.
myself.
Yeah.
I started with a HOD, and so here I sit as a CEO, and I how did I get here? Doors open. Okay, I'll go that way.
Yeah. Well, you had opportunities that crossed your path and certain situations that ended up happening, but there was a door open for you. And, part of you have to, sometimes that door is only open a crack, and you only have that little crack to get through. And once it's closed, it's closed in a lot of cases, and if you don't jump on that, you have to be ready for it as well.
Well, you can't be afraid to say yes. There's that old adage, say yes and then figure it out.
Yeah.
I just did that only because I wanted to move up. I said yes. If I felt reasonably confident that I could do something, I'll figure out the onesie twosie things later. I'll just do it.
Yeah.
But you can't be afraid to open the door, to look into the crack, to open it a little further, and then to step through it.
Exactly.
It may not be the best thing in the world.
You're going to learn something
You're
from
going
it,
to learn
though.
something from it.
Yeah. So your attitude throughout your life was moving up.
Yes.
You already had that.
Yeah.
You weren't going to be stuck doing this.
I wasn't going to be a
certain thing.
plasterer my whole life. I wasn't going to chase the nozzle my whole life.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
You were progressive, and you wanted to move up, and you always had that attitude that I'm going to move up this ladder, And who would have thought you would have been in sales?
I know, right?
I mean, that's a trip, dude.
But I didn't look at it as sales. I thought of it as education.
Yeah.
If you show somebody the why of something,
Mm-hmm.
they'll say, okay, I'll take that. All right, cool.
Yeah.
You need help with it afterwards? Yeah, it wasn't really about sales. I was more interested in the functionality, the why, the how does this thing work? How does it fit you? How do I solve your problem?
Right.
That's really what I like to do.
Yeah. But
Self-serving.
you were a sales manager, so
Yeah.
you were in sales.
I was in
you know,
sales.
And
No getting around
you
it.
may not have looked at it that way because you wanted to solve problems for your customers, and that you were selling yourself is what was ended up happening.
And I was again fortunate just to have personality that I do. Is when I moved up into a manager's position or a foreman or a superintendent or a manager, I took it upon myself to study what I needed to do to learn the position, right? I didn't just step in and say, oh, I got all the power now. You do this, you do that, you do this.
Mm-hmm.
I never was that way because I never liked that done to me.
Sure.
I wanted to be, I've always told everybody, I'll never ask you to do anything I won't do myself.
Mm-hmm.
I will absolutely do it myself first.
Yeah.
So one of the things we're doing now is trying to create these little micro training seminars
Mm-hmm.
for like if you're a salesman, you've been a real good sales guy, and the sales manager moves on or does something. They said, you're going to be the new sales manager. Okay, what do I do? How do I do this? I need some tools, something.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just don't naturally get it or don't naturally seek their own. They try to, tough it through, and sometimes they fail.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they end up going somewhere. So you may have lost good talent. And when let's say you're just selling stucco products. When you're in that business, you need those products out the door, going. Some people take the time to train their people to how to be a salesperson, how to work with other people, how to manage people, but sometimes they don't. And so we've started this little training thing that we're doing, teaching how do you be a manager? First-time manager, how do you do it? What does it mean? What are you looking for? And that's so I'm trying to bring value to these members, find places to get something they may not have. And I'm not talking day-long seminars. We're doing one right now called Drive-By MBA. And it is a short 15-minute, and we're talking with feelings right now because of the COVID thing. There's a lot of post-traumatic feelings going on right
Sure.
now. Everybody's angry. Everybody's fed up. Everybody's just like, when will this end? And I can't say everybody. A lot of people.
Sure.
So we came up with this idea working with this company called MAP, the management company, that are teaching people how to deal with emotions. We picked 3: anger, frustration, and it's quick. 3 points, 1 takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can stay afterwards for a Q&A, open Q&A,
Mm-hmm.
and or not.
Got it.
And so we've done one. We've got a series of 6 coming up. And the first one was like 35 people that came on it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really good. So check our website.
So you're thinking out of the box.
A little bit,
that.
trying to.
But shit's changed though too.
It has.
This whole thing has changed.
We have to be different.
Yeah.
We have to think differently. And again, it's not that I'm trying to create. I've always said I don't have a box. I never had a box. So for me, thinking outside the box, I never had one to begin with. It's just the way I think. And it's not just me. I get information from a lot of people, and I get a lot of feedback from a lot of people. So what do you think of this idea? What about that? How can we collaborate here? And so that's
Sure.
I do a lot of working with other people because I am not the answer to a lot of this stuff. But I find good things, and I know good nuggets when I get them.
Sure.
I'll keep them.
Yeah.
I'll need that later. I don't
Exactly.
know when, but
Yeah.
I got it. So
No,
yeah.
but you're putting it out there.
Putting it out
and
there.
that's how you're getting those nuggets.
Right now, I don't think you could fail doing different stuff because everything's different.
It is.
Everything's
and it's going to continue to be that way for a little while.
I think so.
Who knows what's going to end up happening with this? You got to, being open-minded and progressive always helps you climb that ladder. So it doesn't stop. You can't turn that off. And it sounds like you've had that your whole life.
Yeah.
To where
I've been lucky to have it. And it keeps your enthusiasm high.
For sure.
It's so easy to get in a rut.
Yeah.
Especially, doing monotonous things. But if, you can learn a craft, and things can be taken away from you, but something people can't take away from you is your brain and your thoughts and your knowledge. You have that forever, and that's yours.
Sacred ground.
Sacred ground. Nobody can touch it.
That's right.
So yeah, fill it with all you can. And another thing we're trying to do is, like I mentioned before, is reach out to the younger people, reach out to those considering construction as a career, make a change. I mean, I was in college and I just just took a hard right.
And they weren't even shoving that shit in your face. I mean, you came from it from your family of,
Just from my brother. Yeah, mom and dad go to college, yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do, dude.
You're going to college,
right.
kid.
But that was before they were shoving that down everybody's throat from kindergarten on. That you're going to be a frickin' loser if you don't have a degree.
I know.
And
it's sad.
Yeah, it went sideways. It was a bad experiment.
It's sad.
Because here we are. We got a labor shortage, and we've had a labor shortage since 2010. Okay, when shit crashed, a lot of it didn't. A lot of these guys didn't make it back, or they were ready to retire, or they figured I have to get into a different career. So now I've got to go. I've got to learn something else. If they were
maybe a little
guys.
impatience on their part, because one thing I know, construction, if you are of the mind to stay employed, you will stay employed in construction. There's always something to do somewhere.
For sure, but you have to be a good hand in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
Like if you're a good hand, you'll always work. They may not be building new stuff, but there's so much old stuff that needs to be maintained. It's like washing windows on a high-rise building, or painting the Golden Gate Bridge. By the time you get to the end, you got to start over again.
That thing, that's in perpetuity, repainting that thing. It's forever.
Yes. Yeah. For real.
Yeah, and the one little market segment, handyman business. You can't get a handyman right now.
No.
They're months out.
It's amazing.
I'll get to you next week. You can't do it.
Yeah. So, exactly.
I learned how just through osmosis, through watching on job sites. I learned how to do most everything I know how to do by watching, and then of course doing.
Exactly.
I put an addition on my house. I can't do electrical. I can, but I don't like it. I don't do plumbing because I just don't do plumbing. Right. And the ductwork, I'm not good at that. But everything else, I got it.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it. I mean, a lot of that same stuff that you just mentioned, it's better to hire a professional, to do
Agreed.
it. So, but there's a lot of other parts and pieces that go into doing just a room addition compared to plumbing and electrical and AC. So,
in the sense of security, knowing, so I always knew it, drive it. I was never afraid to make a mistake because I always knew if it went south and they fired me, I'll go right back to plastering. I'll be employed 10 minutes later.
Exactly.
I've always had that mentality that I can always go back and do that.
Exactly.
Anytime.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of comfort. That creates, some confidence.
Absolutely.
In your ability to step just a little bit beyond your comfort level, knowing that I got all this behind me.
Sure. Yeah. And again, sacred ground. No one can take it away.
Nope.
It's there. And that's part of the beauty of being a tradesman as well. It gives you that confidence that, you can, you take chances when you're young. You don't, usually older folks don't start taking chances. Your time is limited.
It is. Yeah, I'm getting there. I have a shorter time left to my retirement than I ever have.
And it'll be shorter tomorrow.
Oh, I know.
Right?
And I hope it keeps getting shorter till I get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that that's going to end up happening, but it sounds like you still have a ways to go in your career.
I do.
You enjoy it. You still enjoy it.
Still enjoying it.
Yeah.
I still want to be relevant. The one thing I don't want to do is be that old guy that's just hanging around, writing on his name, not really contributing. And not that I hold that against anybody. For me personally, if I can't be on the forefront, creating, moving, doing new things, it's time to leave it to somebody who can.
Got it.
Give somebody the opportunity, to come up and,
I'll pull out some of them frickin' nuggets.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do. That's what Ian did for me. He says he did a little brain dump. Sorry, I hit the mic. Let me give you some of this. Give me that whenever you need it. Just come get it.
Sure.
It's always here for you.
Sure.
It's a great
That's
thing.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. So what are your hobbies? Besides
golf.
working your ass off. Well, yeah, golf.
Love
That's a
golf.
no-brainer.
Yeah. I work with wood. I enjoy doing woodworking, and My tagline there is, I do that to keep me from killing people. It's just, traffic and everything, just watching the madness that is this world right now.
Yeah.
It's very task oriented. It takes thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I do things that I've never done before, like mortise and tenon, but I'll cut them by hand. That kind of stuff.
Got it.
Making jigs, working with wood. I took shop back in high school.
Yeah,
So
when
wood
they had
shop,
it. They
when
had
they had
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, auto shop, wood shop, photography, machine shop. Took them all. It was great.
Well, you had to.
Well, you had to.
You didn't have a choice. And you know what? They took those away.
I know.
And I think that
What a
hurts.
mistake.
It hurts society, dude.
Agreed. Agreed.
That was not everybody's going to be a doctor or an attorney or a chemical engineer or an engineer, mechanical engineer, whatever. I mean, those were.
Not everybody can.
Exactly.
There's not enough positions open for everybody to do that.
A lot of that shit is saturated.
Yeah.
The programming and all that stuff is saturated. You have to be exceptional, to be able to make it through that. So these trades are super important for these young guys.
Yeah, so woodworking, I still, what else do I do? That's about it.
Got
Take
it.
care of the
No
grandkids.
skydiving or anything?
No,
Skiing?
So back in high school, not anymore.
Got it.
Not anymore. But back in high school, I was a pole vaulter. And
Wow.
that was a kick in the pants.
For sure.
I loved it. So I did real well. Did okay. It was a lot of fun. Did pole vaulting through high school. And then my first year in college, I was pole vaulting and pulled a hamstring and just got tired of going to practice. I got distracted. I was frustrated being in college. I was just frustrated. So I quit pole vaulting. So then we moved to New Mexico, and I'm in my 30s. And there was an ad taken out at the local high school saying, hey, there's a intramural track club starting up for adults, young adults. And I call the guy, I go, do you have pole vaulting? He goes, yeah. I go, sign me up. I'm in. So I tell him, get off the phone. Honey, you're not going to believe what I'm going to do. What? I go, intramural track, they got pole vaulting. I'm going to pole vault. She goes, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, babe, it's good, man. I'm good at it. She goes, no, you're not. You get hurt. We have no income because my wife was a domestic goddess. She's
good. She raised your kids.
She did.
Good for you. You're very fortunate.
Again, lucky, just fortunate.
Well,
but she said no pole vaulting, zero, none, zero.
Well, that was the end of that.
That was the end of that. So and then same with skydiving. You're not going to skydive. Same with bungee jumping. No. There'll be no bungee jumping for you.
No motocross or anything like that.
Yeah, and I got to say, it's not that she said no. We talked it out.
Sure.
She convinced me how stupid I was. That's what happened. She showed me the error of my ways.
Well, it was something you enjoyed, though. It's.
I was afraid of nothing.
That's how high did you get?
14 feet.
That's big, man.
Yeah, it was all right.
That's big. You get up on the second stage.
Yeah. Well, so I used to walk stilts all the time.
Did you?
Oh yeah, with a nozzle.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just I was fearless.
Wow.
Jumping off scaffold. My knees pay for it now, but
sure.
It was crazy. I shudder at some of the things I did.
Yeah.
And I don't care to mention them because I made it through.
I get you.
I was afraid of nothing.
You've had a hell of a career, man.
Yeah.
You're not done yet.
I'm not done yet.
You
so we're
have
passing
passion.
on. Yeah. Still have passion. This technical side. So I want to mention that in our association, we have a technical side, Technical Services Information Bureau. Again, been around a long time. Walt Pruder was part of it. Dick Gorman, icons in the industry.
Sure.
Training, passing along. And now we've got Darren Coates running it. He's been with the association 16, 17 years. Working technical the whole time. He comes from the acoustical ceiling industry from the field, but now he's running our technical side. And so I look at us as two pillars because as CEO, I can't do both. I can't do technical, be effective, and do the labor relations stuff.
Sure.
So it's Darren's deal to run, and he's in there fighting the fight with the ASTM, with all the acronyms. He deals with all the acronyms: ASTM, Cisco, Cal OSHA, all these people that he's working with. The Drywall Finishing Council, been instrumental in doing a lot of things, but you never see his name. The he's crafty good. He just keeps his name out of everything. He contributes big time. It does very big things in the industry.
No, it's a great organization over there, and I'm glad that I'm accepted as an affiliate over there.
Dude,
and
yeah, you're welcome anytime. You know that.
Yeah, and you guys have always made me feel welcome.
Yeah.
You know, there's some great guys over there, and the association, the members are all great people.
Great people.
You know,
We do. We have a good group.
You can learn a lot, and the thing is it's a trip because it is evolving. You know, so this new blood is coming in.
New blood's coming in.
You know, we're the old guys now, dude.
I know. When did that happen?
Well, I mean, it happened. You know, and they will be if they're lucky enough to get there. You know, because you got to kind of be lucky.
You do.
To grow older.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. But you know, a lot of what you do in advancement, calling it lucky, is you create your own luck.
That's true.
You know, so
that's very true.
Yeah. Never. I made a vow to never quit learning.
Mm-hmm.
When it's time, you know, when I get tired of learning, it's time. It's just time to retire.
Sure.
Or do something or learn something different.
Break out the 9-iron.
Yeah, man. I hope I can golf as long as Dick Martin. He's in his 80s, still golfing, and I just hope.
Just stay active, man. You're in good shape.
So far.
Yeah, you're in good shape. No boiler on you. You know, so you're obviously you're eating right, and you're staying active, and that's the key to self-preservation.
It is. Yeah, it calms my mind.
Sure.
I have a very busy mind.
Sure. That's you've had a hell of a story, dude. A
Really?
lot of different shit.
It just
a lot
is.
of different stuff going on there, you know, and the way you moved up in your career, so forth. Very interesting.
It's been a great ride.
Yeah, and again, you know, you're still passionate about it, and you've got a ways to go, so that's good. And hopefully, you can find somebody in the future that will fill those shoes.
Yeah,
you know,
they're there.
Yeah, for sure.
They just don't know it.
That's a process,
right?
Too. Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, that's why, you know, our outreach is so important. Just letting everybody know what this association does. I mean, it has a great reputation, a great name. Been around 100 years.
For sure.
There was a great foundation that I was able to stand on to continue working.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's a very, very interesting story.
It's cool.
And I really appreciate you taking some time to come in and tell your story, man.
Man, thanks for inviting me.
That's
Again,
awesome.
You know, this is hallowed ground right here.
Yeah,
some
well,
greats have been through here.
I've had some very interesting characters coming through here,
Yeah,
and I've got more too coming in. So, and the industry needs to hear these stories.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah, there's a lot of us out there. A lot of interesting people. A lot of interesting stories.
For sure.
I enjoy watching your podcast. So.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, and thanks again for coming in, Albert.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man.
Take care.
See you.